Hey, Derek. I'm gonna pause that. All right. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna build this application using active record migrations and associations, and we'll just like play around a little bit with some of the methods that become available to us when we have that, when we build those associations. Cool. So right now we have like sort of a clean slate. There's no migrations, there's no models, so we'll go ahead and we'll create those. And I was thinking for like our domain, I wanted to do like a pet, veterinarian, and like appointments.
Okay.
Hey Dylan, how are you?
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Cool. That's okay. As long as you're here, it's totally cool.
Fair enough.
All are welcome. So let's just talk a little bit about what ActiveRecord is. As you guys have learned, ActiveRecord comes as a Ruby gem, and it's the model in the MVC structure. So it's just, responsible for representing business data and logic. The reason why ActiveRecord exists is because of these amazing Rubyists who were like, oh, ORM is kind of like a lot of work, so let's abstract that into a gem. And so they created ActiveRecord. So gotta love them.
Seriously.
Praise them, yeah.
Yeah. So basically what it does is it facilitates your object's data persistence to the database. So like if you have an object that has like attributes that carry data, you can use ActiveRecord to persist that data to your database. So it creates like a bridge between your tables and your classes. And then it's an implementation of ActiveRecord pattern ORM. So like in order to use ActiveRecord, what we have to do is we have to make sure that we connect our classes to ActiveRecord, which is something that we'll go through once we're building our application. How we do this is the class inherits from this ActiveRecord base, which is basically set and created inside your environment file here. So you're just inheriting the methods from this, and that connects to your database.
So the base is basically just for classes, correct?
Right.
For our methods? Okay.
Yeah. And then once you have it inheriting from ActiveRecord base, then you have a bunch of ActiveRecord methods available, and you can find those here in this link. Where did my little chat option go? There it is.
Does base include the migration? Is that that namespace come from base as well?
That's a good question. I don't think so. And that was something that I was really curious about last night, because I was looking at this rake file and the only thing that they have is the console. Right. That's a good question, actually. Let's see. I think the migration comes from this ActiveRecord migration instead. Let's see.
I guess I'm wondering like how, if you're like CLI is looking at the environment, when it gets to like the migration files, that's when it starts pulling that in as part of ActiveRecord?
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
I think what allows that is.
Right. Does it have to be an environment? What
do you mean?
So If you, yeah. So when you have just base, migrate doesn't have to be in there, right? Because you already have the gem installed.
Right, but
It's part of
remember,
the gem file.
your migrations, you're also using the migration method.
Right,
in
inside. So we
files.
just inherit it right from there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and we can see that if we create DB. We'll go ahead and we'll just create our tables now. So I'm going to use vet so that it's shorter instead of veterinarian, because I always misspell that. Cool. I think that should do that. Just taking a second. Great. So that creates our DB folder, our migrate folder, and then it has the migration. So as you can see, it inherits from ActiveRecord migration, and let's see what that entails. I think this might be helpful. So it entails this, which we use this method, the create table, and then all of these. So I guess like that just really, that migration really just allows you to use these different methods inside of your migration files. I'm not sure where this is being set. It should be in the rake file, but I'm a little curious if, let's see, let's look at our, I wonder if it's like this, creating it.
The rake file does have that, like require the Sinatra active
Yeah.
record, maybe. Yeah, that maybe.
Yeah. I wonder what this includes. Yeah, so it looks like this is where it comes from.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. Okay.
Cool. Great. So yeah, that was a really good question. So we've got our vet table. Let's go ahead and create pets. And for now, we'll just use these two tables. We won't worry about like a third object just yet. And then let's go ahead and create our models as well.
When you did that first rake DB create migration, did you already have a database established, or did that create it right then? It created that database and the migrate file, or migration folder, and then the file?
Yeah, it creates the DB folder and the migrate folder for you.
Okay. So now there's a DB that you could put into like the SQLite browser and like look at the table?
That's this right here.
Oh, right. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So when does it actually create it? When, considering it's part of the environment, when does it actually get created? Or it's already created? And
it's already created. It's created and connected here.
Okay, so when it's just, yeah, all right.
Yeah. And so, okay, so like this is going to be our database. Once I run these migrations, you'll notice that this file will get created.
Oh, so it's, okay, so that's when it gets created, when you actually run the file.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, oops, let's go ahead and fill out. So I have to change this to 4.2 because it doesn't work. Actually, no, it does. We'll see. So we're going to use the create table method that's given through this migration in ActiveRecord, and we're going to say this is the vets, and we'll just give the vet a name for now. Keep it super simple. Great. And then pets, which, by the way, Derek, is your cat still hanging out?
She's around.
Aw.
She went to go eat or something.
She's like, this is too boring for me.
I know, but too boring for a cat? Wild.
Yeah. And then let's think about, before we do like any migrations, let's think about the relationship between a vet and a pet. What do you think the relationship would be?
That has many pets.
A vet has many
Has
pets.
many pets, yeah, and a pet belongs to a vet.
Right. So what would I need to add to my pet table in order to associate it with the vet?
Vet ID.
Yeah, a foreign key, right? Oops.
Yeah, sorry.
Do that.
I do that all the time, and then when I migrate,
You realize,
Yeah, every single time I do.
every time. Yeah.
Cool. So I think now we're ready to create our migrations. Oh, and I do this all the time too. Those pesky ends.
At least not long. Sometimes I miss a colon right before the actual like colon name.
Excellent. So, right. So it created our migrations, and then it also created our database. So I think, Derek, this is what you were asking. So then this is probably the file that you could open, and like if you're using a DB browser,
Yep.
you could open this and look at your data in that application.
Cool.
Awesome. So let's also create our classes. Make sure it inherits from Active Record Base, and we said a pet belongs to a vet. Cool. And then I'll just do this. Great. Cool. So we have everything. And now like what we can do is we can kind of play around with this and use these methods provided through Active Record Base to persist data to our database. And we can do this through Rate Console. I don't know if you guys have been playing around at all with like Rate Console, but it's basically Pry. And it allows you to do like a lot of different things, which you guys will see as we go through the study group. I
don't really know the difference between doing Rate Console and Pry. Rate Console just basically sets you into a Pry instead of having to call Pry. Is that basically the benefit there?
Yeah, and
or
I
is
think
there more to it?
I think the Pry is like wrapped around the entire application, whereas like a binding.pry, you drop it inside of a method and it stops
Right.
there. And it's kind of like unaware of anything else, right?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have to set a task in the rake file for console to work, the Pry console? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
I think when you create your application, this comes automated. I could be wrong, but I think it comes as a default in your rake file.
Okay.
Great. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new pet. We'll call this Fluffy and we'll set it equal to pet.new. We'll give it a name. Oh yeah, and a breed. We'll say Pomeranian. Kind of makes sense. They're really fluffy. Great. So it created my object, but I don't have an ID. So I need to persist it to my database, and I can do that by calling the object and just save. And then now if we check the object, it's been persisted. If we check, then it'll return an array of this. Let's also make another one. Do people take fish to the vet?
I bet somebody who does.
I'm gonna do. Let's just have fun with this. Great.
Are the I think I know after watching all the lectures if this is just true, but if you don't specify like a name or like if you had a name but no breed, is it default to nil?
It is, yeah. Yeah. So like if we and I'm gonna use create. Can you tell me what the difference between create and new is?
I was about to ask you that because I thought that create was basically it saves it.
Like create will persist.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
But new doesn't.
Right. New will create the memory, right? So like as we can see, it creates the object in memory, but it doesn't. We have to explicitly persist it. Create does both. It creates it and it persists it. Oh, I see. You must pass a hash.
Name.
Oh, I did it incorrectly. Oops. I used the equal sign. Cool. So yeah, so it sets the name, but then it keeps breed nil.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to set it, you could just do like sam.breed because that'll return nil. And you can say sam.breed equals, we'll say a Shiba cat. So now if we look at Sam, it has a breed. Oops, sorry.
Cool.
Awesome. So that gives us, I think, 3 pets. Great. Get this Zoom link. All right, so now we need to create some vets. So I'll say Derek equals vet.create. Oh, I spelled that wrong. I don't know if you've noticed, but like I used to be a great speller until I started doing development, and I don't know if it's like a developer.
But like spelling is not as required in programming, at least like proper spelling.
Yeah.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's like I make these silly spelling errors, and I'm like, how does this happen?
I could see why when you're like playing around in the console and stuff, you would just have like one letter objects that you're assigning to, like, just D or A or whatever.
So you tell the experienced programmers how many deletes they do.
All right, cool. So now we have both of our objects. We have some instances created and persisted to our database. If we're talking about associations, right, we need to let our pet know which vet it belongs to. And that way our vet will know which pets are his, right? So there's like what's cool about this ActiveRecord base is that it gives us the ability to call like this method. This macro creates this like .vet method. So like if I say fluffy.vet, it's going to return nil, which makes sense because if we look at fluffy, we haven't associated it with a vet. And so if we want to do that, we can just go ahead and use the same method and then set it equal to. Cool. And so now if we check fluffy, its vet ID is set to the first, so like Derek. And then let's see, if I want to do fluffy.vet.name, that'll return the name of the vet. Nice. So like also with associations though, is that we can tell our pet who it belongs to. Whenever we have a belongs to and it has many relationship, the belongs to object is a child object, and then the object that has many is the parent object. So while the child object knows who it's associated to, if we were to check our object's pets, so like let's say Derek.pets, it's unaware of its pets right now because we haven't told our vet explicitly who belongs to him. And one thing I want to point out is like whenever you have a has many relationship, it's going to be a collection of objects. And the way that we always store and present collections of data is through what type? What is this?
An array.
Yeah, exactly. So in order to add our pet to it, we're going to have to go ahead and shovel into it instead of setting it equal, because that's the way that we add elements to an array. So we'll do that. Great. And so now our vet knows about its pets too, because if we call Derek.pets, then we've got this array returning of each pet object. And then we can also say, and so now we've got 2 elements. And what's cool is when you do that, it looks like it also goes ahead and associates or enters in the ID for your vet in your pet object too. Great, cool. All right, but so this just kind of covers a has many and a belongs to relationship. There's also a has many through, right? If you have like a multitude of objects and classes that are talking and communicating and they're related to each other. So like in this case, while pets do belong to a vet and a vet has many pets, I think it's important to note that like they have that relation through appointments. So I think it would be smart to have like an appointments table, which is kind of the middleman. It's the bridge between the two. So we'll go ahead and create that. The Zoom bar is so inconvenient. Okay. So we'll create a migration again. And whenever you create a migration, you're going to use the create migration task, and the name of your table identifier is always going to be all caps, and then it's always going to be create, and then your table in the plural. Cool. All right.
That's cool.
So now we can create this table.
So those are just rate commands, right? Essentially.
These?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
These are created through rake tasks. And you can, if you ever want to know what all of the rake tasks available to you are, you can always do rake T.
There she is.
And then here are all of your tasks.
Yeah, that's cool. Very nice.
Can you even add more code and like populate the table too at the same, like can you keep writing after name equals create appointments to make the set like an integer?
Yeah, you can. You can add the columns if you want.
Columns, right?
Cool.
So actually we'll do date time and we'll have a date field. And then so our appointments is going to be the middleman between our pet and our vet. So what type of relationship are they going to have to those 2 objects?
Uh,
Has many through.
Okay, our pet and our vet will have a has many through
Oh,
relationship.
sorry, I thought that's what you said. Yeah. Sorry.
Because
Did you say
remember,
one
the
more
appointments is the middleman. So appointment actually belongs
time?
to a
To
pet, and it also belongs
yeah.
to a vet.
okay.
Yeah. So we'll have a foreign key for both of those objects.
Sorry.
Whose dog is that?
That was mine. Still.
And all
We've got a cat and we've got a dog. This is a
Best of
fun
both
study
worlds.
group. Cool. So we'll go ahead and migrate. Okay, excellent. I forgot to actually talk about this file because this is kind of important. The schema is the way that you can see the structure of your tables. So like if you ever need to look and see what your table looks like, this is where you would see it. Also,
So every time you run a migrate, it goes there then?
yes, exactly. Exactly. Also, if you ever need to just start from scratch and you don't want to do a rollback, what you could do is you could just delete this schema file.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you can run your migrations again. So for example, if I just delete it, my tables no longer exist. But if I run rakedb migrate,
Yeah, that's cool.
it'll create it again. But you'll have to delete this as well, the development.sqlite, which I forgot to do. So I'm lucky it still made this. I'm actually curious. Okay, cool. Yeah, so my database is still existing. Great. So cool. So we created that, but we're missing, well, we're not really missing anything, but if we take a look, our earlier relationships, we had included this foreign key in our pets table, but now, and let me create my create our appointment class. And we said our appointment belongs to both of those classes. Great. Okay. So now this does not belong to a vet anymore. This will have many appointments.
Oh, okay.
And then they will have many vets through those appointments. So
Okay.
the appointments basically acts as a middleman, a bridge between your pet and your vet now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't belong to, let's say, a doctor unless we make an appointment with them. So cool. And then we'll want to indicate, and we'll just do the same here. Great. And so I guess the next thing that we need to do is in our schema, we see this foreign key still in our pet class table. We want to remove that. So want to walk me through the migration for this? If I need to remove something, I would still do rakedb create migration. That's still the same. But how would I set the name?
Is it a remove vet ID or remove vet from or ID? Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. From
Yeah, exactly. And then you want to specify what table.
Okay. We can do one table at a time. Oh, I guess only the pets has a vet ID. Well,
Yeah.
vet ID from pets.
Great. And so then here, how do you know the method that we use to remove? I think.
I thought it was just delete.
Is there a delete column?
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, there's this remove column.
Yeah.
And so you just basically list the table name and the column name. They have type, but I don't think that you need to specify the type. I don't think that really matters. So what's that? Remove columns from, you want to indicate your table, and then we're going to do vet ID. Let's see if that works. Okay, no syntax errors, and yep, it looks like it deleted it. Great. So our schema looks exactly like we want it to now. Do you guys have any questions up to this point?
Not yet. Everything seems pretty straightforward.
Same.
Cool.
A little weird getting used to new syntax, but that's the syntax.
I like the syntax more than ORM syntax, though.
Oh yeah, way better. Way better.
Great. Cool. So now we're ready to kind of, play with our tables and our objects. So we'll go back into our console and we'll create some objects. So we already have pet and vet objects. Great. So we'll just create like an appointment.
So your the objects you created the first time in the console, they stay in because they're in the table. They're
exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you take a note, like remember the variables that I set? So I had set fluffy equal to the first object. Now it's undefined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but because these are persisted in our database, then these are still available in console.
Got it.
Cool. So we'll make a new appointment and we'll use create just to make it persist automatically. And date, we'll use the date class and just initiate a new instance of that and let that class handle it for us. Do you guys know about this?
No.
Okay, so like date class Ruby.
Is that like a date time thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a date time, and then you can call the new method on it. And it's weird because I thought the new method would create like the current date, but it doesn't. Because when I tried it last time, it made like a date in January. Let's see what it does. Yeah, see? It's like January 1st.
It's weird.
What's that last digit? There are 4 digits.
That's a good question. Let's see. See if it explains it anywhere here.
So why would you use date new instead of just date time or something similar to that? Like what would be
Date time?
Yeah, because what we're specifying
What is date
type, right?
Yeah. Is it Ruby? Let's see.
I think it is.
Oh yeah. So what do you do? Oh, datetime.new. Do you have to pass in arguments or will it just initialize it? That's what I'm wondering is maybe datetime is a little bit more specific because like this will actually create a date for you. But let's see. Let's try it out. I'm curious now. And it's, okay, cool. Oh. Oh, okay. So it does almost the same thing.
Oh, same thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so I guess you can use like both.
Well, I was wondering what the new part of it was. Does it not work without the new? Maybe I'm just misunderstanding.
I wonder if we
Because
can.
so maybe I'll just backtrack. When you're putting the date.new, are you setting the data type for date, or you're setting just the new value for it?
I'm creating a new instance of the date time class. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of this. It's just creating a new instance of date time.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's supposed to be its own thing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Very good.
And then when you check date time, it looks like it just returns what it is. I wonder.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking something else then.
It makes sense that it would say like,
Before.
oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say before when you were setting, when we were setting data types for columns and such, I was just used to using date time, but I thought we were doing something similar.
Are you talking about this?
That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
This is
So
actually, this is a part of ActiveRecord, so I think it's completely different than the class. It's just like a column name.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it won't it won't initiate its own date without us explicitly telling it to.
Which now I understand. Makes sense. So I take that back.
All right, cool.
That
Great
that
question.
t.date time is like formatting the column to look.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a column name. It's not that it's a column name, I'm sorry, because that's our date. It's a type
Right.
that we can set it to, just like there's integer and string. It's just a type. So like if we created
And now you're giving it its value essentially.
appointment with like nothing, okay.
It
That
tries.
pesky W keeps haunting me. Yeah, so like it won't create a date automatically just because it's date time.
Right. That's what I thought it did. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
So you're essentially making that date for that, which makes sense now. All right.
Yeah.
I'm all caught up.
And then we'll do appointment with all dot last dot date, and we'll set that equal to cool. Just want to make sure we don't leave any fields. Oh. I don't know why. Okay, so
Is that because .new versus .create? No, because that would just.
it looks like it just didn't get persisted.
Yeah.
Equals date dot new, and then we'll do. All right, so now if we check it, great. Okay, so now it persisted.
Could you do something like date.create, or that wouldn't work here?
I don't think that would work because create is an ActiveRecord method, and this is just its entirely like different class. It's just a Ruby class.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. So like if we take a look at the class itself,
Yeah, one of them.
there's a create method. Cool. All right. So we've got some objects created. Now let's start associating them. So currently, if we check, we have appointments, or we have a pet that has many appointments. So let's see. Let me actually score this. Cool. And so if we check Fluffy's appointments, I believe it returns nothing because we haven't associated it. So we can say great. And so this associates now your pet with its appointments. through this method, fluffy.appointments, and that's because of this has many relationship. What if I want to also set my vets for my pet? How can I access that? Would it just be fluffy.vets? Yeah. So probably just do like, now if we ask for Fluffy's vets, cool, we're returning an array of the vets.
Hmm.
And then I wonder, since we did that, if it also associates our appointments. No, it doesn't. Our vet ID is still nil, so we have to tell it who its vet is, right? Which makes sense because this is the belongs to relationship, whereas
Right,
this is the has many. So we can set that by doing this. Oh, undefined method vet. Oh, vets. Undefined method vets.
The ID, does that matter?
No, it should be, let's see, fluffy.appointments. This is the part I always get like hung up on. Let's see. Maybe just, but we associated this, so that's good. Oh, you know what? I think it did create. So like if we do fluffy.vets.appointment, oh my gosh, my misspelling is going to be the death of me. Huh. Interesting. What am I doing wrong here?
What about .appointments.vets? Did we already do that? Oh, you did. Never mind.
Yeah, I think that's what we were originally getting this error with. Let's think about this. Pet, wait, no. A vet has many appointments. So let's look at dot. Let's make sure this returns. Yeah, that returns it. Oh, no wonder. I'm checking appointments on appointment. All right. I swear I got this. Okay, so there we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, it looks like we've actually associated both our vet and our pet with this appointment. The only thing we don't have is a date. So we'll go ahead and we'll set that. We'll say that 1 equals I know why. Because appointments returns an array, we can't call the date method on it. We'll want to extract that first element. And then that gives us our object, and then we can actually call the attribute date. Cool.
Oh, that makes sense.
These darn undefined method errors. So like, what is it saying? I did name it vet1 dot save. All right, well.
You just, because now vet1 is only equal to that date instance, right?
Yeah. Why? Oh, I
There's
see.
no date table to put that in.
Yeah, and I don't think I can do like 2 equals like this. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to set what does this do? Cool. And then now we can do all right. What am I doing here? What does that return? Oh, I see. Okay.
Date.
But if I do vet1 dot appointments, cool, and then
Man.
and we'll grab the first one. Let's see. Okay, cool. And then so we'll set this equal to date.new, and then we'll persist it. All right, cool. All right, great.
Nice.
Yeah, so as you can see, there's like a lot of different methods that you can use through these macros. It doesn't look like we'll have time to like go into, because I wanted to build these out manually as well, but I don't think we'll be able to do that within 8 minutes. I just want to talk about like maybe like building methods in your class that like return certain things. So like, for example, let's say in my vet class, I wanted to return the name, like an array of all of the names of the pets that belong to this vet. So I could do like, well, no, probably wouldn't want pets. Maybe like pet names. And so then what I would have to do is I would have to iterate over.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Tell me what? What do I have to iterate over and map?
I think it would have to be the well, the pets array, right? Dot name. Well,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
So the pets dot, I guess, map to pets dot name. Yeah, pets or pet. Yeah, and then
I kind of want to see.
or pets dot all rather. So, well, no, pets should be doing it, right? What's pets?
Gotta move the Zoom thing again. So cool. And then so this is in our pet class. So we'll do pet.first dot and then pet names and see. Cool. So let's see what P is. All right, cool. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do, Dylan. And then we can say, like you said, p.name. Because if we say p.name here, that returns this.
Awesome.
Great. I'm curious. Do we have associations for all of our pets? Because oh, that's right. Okay, I get why it's doing that. Because I'm in the pry.
Oh, right. So the rake.
Yeah.
Now I see.
Yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes to tell like what's going on. So if I do vet all dot first, and do you know what is going on like when I do this here and using this vet dot all dot first syntax?
Is that the first thing in the vets array, or the first
Exactly.
object in the vets array?
Yeah. So like it returns the first object, and you can do vet dot all dot last, and that'll return the last object. Cool. So let's go back to this. So it returns an array. I want to see. All right, cool. So I'm going to add another pet because I want to see like if it'll actually return a number of elements. So we'll do this and then we'll shovel in our pet.all and we'll choose the second one. Cool. So now our vet has 2 pets that belong to him. And so if we call this again, we'll return an array. If we call our pet names, then we'll return an array of just their names. Any questions with this?
That makes sense.
Great. What if I wanted to, like, what if my vet wanted to organize his pets by breed? And so, like, maybe like create a method just for Pomeranians.
Do the same type of thing, iterate through the pets array, and then grab the breed that's equal to the string Pomeranians.
Yeah, we could. We could also use a little bit of, because I think ActiveRecord gives your object some SQL methods.
So an order method then?
Okay, an order. I think an order does more of like a sorting.
Where?
A where, yeah. So maybe like a where.
Oh, yeah.
And then identify the breed as Pomeranian.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's see if that works. I can't promise anything. You just never know if you got it right or not.
That's fun.
And so we'll call this okay. So it's having an issue with this.
Do you have to call where on something?
Yeah, you do. Oh. It's on the pet class. So like, I think you guys did a lab.
Is it the pets class or the table? I'm kind of confused.
It should be, well, if you do pet.all, this will return everything inside your table.
Right.
I think you guys did a lab where you guys did like some.
Yeah, we did.
This one. I wonder.
Class.
Yeah, so like it looks like it's called, oh yeah, right here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The whole question mark thing.
Yeah, and so if we wanted to do the question mark, we could say where question mark and then.
Right, yeah.
All right, so we'll exit this. And the thing with console is it doesn't log your changes, just like binding.pry. You have to exit it and then enter it back in so that it's aware of the new code that you added.
Okay.
All right. Oh. Is this how I spelt Pomeranian? Let's see.
Pomeranian.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it's returning empty. I mean, it's at least returning something.
Yeah. Here, let's do this. We'll remove this question mark for now. Yeah, that's saved. Okay. And then, cool. There we go. I must have had a misspelling or something. I'm not surprised at this point. Great. So yeah, so
No,
that,
cool. It works without the question mark. That's cool. I thought you needed the question mark for that.
Can you look back at the learn doc? What
Yeah, I thought you needed that for that. That's cool.
maybe
Oh, it's if you do. No,
that is a string though. Yeah.
that's a string, yeah. So like with my
Oh, so you use the
It'd be
symbol.
like a string that says breed equals question mark.
let's try that.
That's a better way to do it, though, isn't it? Yeah, I like that.
Breed equals question mark, and then Pomeranians probably has to be in.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah, let's do this so I don't misspell it again. All right, let's try that out. Yep.
I like the other way better, though. Seems more straightforward.
Yeah, it is a little bit more straightforward, but this would be useful if you wanted to like use more than one breed, maybe. Although you would probably create different methods. What if I only want to print out the name of the pet? I could probably do, and this will be the last one, and then I'll let you guys go. Cool. And then, great. So then that returns just an array of the name. Great.
Cool.
Cool. This was really fun. Do you guys have any questions before I let you go?
No, seems pretty
No,
straightforward.
all good.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys at the next one.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.
Later.